and welcome to Dive with Lily. I am Lily and today we will be diving into NVIDIA. Are you interested in investing? If you are, you have probably heard of NVIDIA, which is NVDA. Currently, its market value sits at $3 trillion with market cap higher than tech giants Apple and Microsoft. NVIDIA has certainly made a name for itself. However, what is NVIDIA? What does it do? Who is behind it? And most importantly, how were the shares able to climb up nearly 200% in the past 12 months? This video will be a deep dive into NVIDIA and its history. I hope you find it interesting and let's dive in. Okay, in this video, we will discuss the foundation of NVIDIA, the founders, its early discoveries, the rise and pushbacks, and its most recent successes. Please feel free to skip to certain sections and I will have the timestamps in the description box below. Okay, let's start with the foundation and background. So the story actually starts on April 5th, 1993 at a Denny's in Silicon Valley. So the main characters are Jensen Huang, Chris Malachowski, and Curtis Priam. These three met at Denny's to discuss creating a chip that would enable realistic 3D graphics on personal computers. The name NVIDIA comes from the Latin word NVIDIA, which means envy, and the acronym NV, which stands for Next Vision. So NV was used to label its files early on, so Jensen had the idea to combine NV and NVIDIA to form NVIDIA. Thus became the birth of a company with a vision to bring 3D graphics to the gaming and multimedia market. So the company was thus born with $40,000 and later received $20 million of venture capital funding from Sequoia Capital and others. In short, venture capital funds are grouped investment funds from investors looking for stakes in startups with strong growth potentials. There are high risk and high reward opportunities. As we saw, NVIDIA certainly has become a high reward opportunity. In just 6 years since inception at 1999, NVIDIA was able to sell shares of its stock to the public and become a public company, aka initial public offerings. So as I mentioned earlier, there are three founders of NVIDIA. Jensen Huang, and actually, interesting fact, his first job was at Denny's when he was 15 years old, and that's why Denny's is very special to him. And previously, he was a director at LSI Logic and Microprocessor Design at AMD. Then we have Chris Malachowski, who was an engineer at Sun Microsystems, and lastly, Curtis Priam, who was a senior staff engineer and graphic chip designer at IBM and Sun Microsystems. Now, let's discuss some of the pivotal technologies NVIDIA was responsible for. So previously, central processing units, which are short for CPUs, were used for graphic-intensive applications. In 1999, NVIDIA invented GeForce 256, which is the world's first graphic processing unit, so GPU instead of CPU. This GPU is a single chip processor with integrated transform, lightning, triangle setup, and rendering engines. So compared to CPUs, which was used previously, GPUs use parallel processing instead of serial processing. So it uses multiple cores in order to allow multiple processes to run even if the process is not complete. So for instance, you can think of it as if the goal was to make a hamburger, CPUs essentially required the bun to be created first, then the patty to be created, and then for it to be created together. However, GPUs allow you to create the bun and the patty at the same time, thus being more efficient and not having to wait for the bun to be finished processing before you can make the patty. So NVIDIA's research and production of GPUs significantly advanced the chip capacity within the semiconductor industry. To put it simply, semiconductors connect conductors such as metal to non-conductors such as ceramics. They can be seen as a glue which connects pieces of electronic products. As one can imagine, this is incredibly useful since most modern electronics, such as iPhones, use semiconductors. To continue, NVIDIA raced ahead of the game by accelerating their chip manufacturing process greatly. Historically, the industry average to produce a new chip is 18 months, while NVIDIA was able to do so in just 6 months. Cutting down the time by more than half gave NVIDIA a massive advantage in the production cycle and the ability to improve rapidly. They continue to push out important products, and I won't bore you with every single product, but I will give you some key examples. So first, we have the ANH series and DGX systems, which are used for fast networking performance for AI developers and scientific research. Think about using your computer to calculate 30 times 30. That is a simple task and can be done on any computer and does not require a high processing power. However, computing and hyperscale infrastructure such as AI would be similar to calculating 30 times 30 100,000 times. So thus, they require faster connections and intelligent networks to analyze data and run complex simulations for speed and efficiency. Then NVIDIA came out with the TEGRA series, which are mobile processors for smartphones, tablets, entertainment systems, and car navigations. This enabled visual computing and computational solutions for next generation mobile devices such as autonomous robotic systems. To continue, NVIDIA also power Mellanox Connect X, Smart NIC, and Quantum InfiniBands, which are all GPUs used in cloud applications, data storage, and machine learning. So this includes a world's first 200 gigabyte Ethernet network adapter card to offer leading performance, offload, and in-network computing. Last thing I will mention is the Compute Unified Device Architecture Platform, which is short for CUDA, which is a computer platform with lots of general purpose compute processors deployed through thousands of applications. With CUDA, developers can dramatically speed up computing processes. In essence, many NVIDIA products were able to accelerate processing times, take in large amount of data, and require less resources to produce. Thus, NVIDIA was able to establish itself as essential in the chip and processing sector. Even though NVIDIA became mainstream in recent months, it actually has been pivotal in famous technologies since the early 2000s. So, I will name now some of the key collaborations that NVIDIA was actually a part of with companies that are household names. So in the early 2000s, Sony selected NVIDIA to assist in design of RSX reality synthesizer for Sony PlayStation 3. In 2003, NASA developed a photorealistic Mars simulation with NVIDIA. In 2003 as well, Audi hired NVIDIA for a major graphic chip supplier for its vehicles. In 2007, NVIDIA was named Forbes Company of the Year. In 2011, NVIDIA had a $1.5 billion cross-licensing deal with IBM. In 2017, NVIDIA had a Toyota partnership which used the technology Drive PX AI platform for Toyota's self-driving cars. This technology lets vehicle analyze the surrounding environment with cameras, radar, and LiDAR technologies. Additionally, Baidu, Chinese conglomerate, used this technology as well. And lastly, in 2020, Metaverse had a beta version, Omniverse, released with NVIDIA for developing 3D imaging, design, and engineering. All in all, NVIDIA was incredibly successful with its innovation, collaboration, and strategic acquisitions. NVIDIA also was able to grow because of many acquisitions. For example, in the early 2000s, they purchased graphic card maker 3DFX Interactive. In 2011, it purchased mobile communication equipment Icera. In 2013, they purchased compiler tech maker PGI and over a dozen other acquisitions. However, as NVIDIA grows, things were not always perfect. As they grew bigger, they became under scrutiny by antitrust watchdogs and regulators due to dominance in the chip industry. So in the US, we have certain rules that certain companies and corporations are not allowed to monopolize its industry. So for instance, in 2006, NVIDIA received its first subpoena from the US Department of Justice regarding antitrust violations. In 2020, NVIDIA attempted to acquire and purchase ARM Ltd for $40 billion, which was problematic because ARM has chip technology that powers hundreds of devices from iPhones, iPads to Kindles. They were met with resistance by regulators, and the deal was ultimately eliminated in 2022, so the acquisition did not go through. In addition, in 2022, there was regulatory oversight after rise of ChatGPT due to uncertainty surrounding artificial intelligence and its impacts on society, culture, and employment. In 2023, NVIDIA's French offices were raided in a cloud computing antitrust inquiry. Regulatory bodies in the EU, China, and other countries initiated close examination of NVIDIA's practices as well. Now, this drives us into the start of artificial intelligence, otherwise known as IA, which is one of the leading reasons NVIDIA is so prevalent today. So in 2022, NVIDIA's investment in artificial intelligence finally paid off. What is artificial intelligence? AI is a science of making machines process large amounts of data recursively to recognize patterns, make decisions, and judge similarly to humans. So for instance, in the past, when you use a search engine such as Google to ask a question, Google does not remember the question you asked. For instance, you can say, where can I find the best apples? However, with the use of AI, it's able to retain information you asked. So instead of just asking, where can I find the best apples, you can import a list of 9 different places that sells apples, and you can ask the AI to make a judgment on where the best place is to acquire apples based on certain criteria such as price, location, and quality. So NVIDIA's focus on processing speed, production speed, and investment in deep learning and AI applications helped them expand GPU capabilities. Ultimately, OpenAI's ChatGPT was built upon 10,000 NVIDIA GPUs. The largest artificial intelligence application used today uses fundamentally NVIDIA GPUs. ChatGPT is an AI chat robot that uses natural language processing to respond to questions and compose content. In addition, the pandemic surge accelerated AI revolution as well. So during the pandemic, the shift to remote work and subsequent demand for data centers that could enable cloud-based computing, plus even more interest in online video games while everyone's stuck indoors, accelerated NVIDIA's revenues even further. OpenAI began to realize the potential of artificial intelligence to transform how all companies do business. And the NVIDIA ecosystem, from its software to its sourcing of materials, allowed it to position itself as a go-to source for companies that needed massive computing power to handle their AI needs. Today, virtually every major tech company, including Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, and Oracle, has made use of NVIDIA chips. While other chip companies continue to work to catch up to NVIDIA, the company's 3 decades worth of GPU specialization presents a massive advantage. PNC Financial Services Group's analyst Amanda Agati describes NVIDIA's lead in the category last fall based on its valuation as a quasi-monopoly. Agati describes that NVIDIA has become critical in the market's path forward. In the saying, data is a new oil, NVIDIA continues to prove it is in a league of its own. All in all, NVIDIA has become extremely prevalent, especially as the rise of technology goes today. In my opinion, I think NVIDIA is a great investment as it has proved itself to be important and pivotal in other major tech companies as well. As the rise of AI continues, NVIDIA will probably play even bigger roles in the future. However, it is interesting to see how regulations will deal with the rise of AI, as there have been recent protests. There was a recent letter from the OpenAI team which expresses concern on the rise of AI. All in all, thank you for watching my video on NVIDIA. I hope you enjoyed my video and stay tuned for the next deep dive with Lily. Please comment below if you have any questions, and if you found it useful, please like the video and subscribe.